All right. Hello everyone. Welcome to the Winter Oceania Grand Slam Tournament 2025. I am so excited to see what match we're up here in this tournament. I believe it's already the round of 16, and we're going to be having Fruitcake versus Ruler. I am Siluas Kaels. Joining me on the commentary booth is none other than Epic Mad 2. Hello, how are you doing today?
Hello, hi, yeah, I'm doing really well today. I've just been like sitting in front of my desk for a few hours, but hey, at least I get to do something entertaining for the time being to occupy myself and whatnot, you know. So yeah,
Fair enough.
but yeah, we're gonna be seeing. Oh, sorry.
But for now, we're gonna be seeing. I like this. Go ahead. It's okay. It's okay.
Oh, my bad. All right. But yeah, for now we're gonna be seeing Fruitcake going up against Ruler for this bracket. Fruitcake, I believe, came out of like a forfeit match from their opponent, and Ruler, like, I believe, had like was a bit of an upset, like to the previous player or something, if I'm like not mistaken.
Well, that would be crazy because winning a match by default has some good and bad things there. It's good because you get a week of rest, and like you won't be able to reveal too much information to your opponent. But it's also bad in the sense that you won't really have the training on nerves as compared to your opponent. Especially since you mentioned that Ruler did win via an upset. So if that's the case, that would be really scary for Fruitcake here, especially since here Fruitcake is the lower seeded player.
Yeah, absolutely. And even if you take into account that every map pool like progressively gets like harder than the map pool prior to this, like we're basically going into round of 16 now from the previous round of 32, like set of matches and whatnot. And from here, the tournament's gonna get like even harder and whatnot. So like just so like it might be a bit of a problem for like both these players if they don't manage to catch up with the difficulty in question.
That's fair enough. So yeah, I don't see any scores from Fruitcake's end on round of 32. So that really does mean that an upset that win by default was the case. However, the best comparison we have could probably be the qualifiers here. So okay, you could give your input more. I'm just saying, you don't really have much of an option other than to analyze their qualifier scores, right? Is here in
Yeah, like so basically from like what we know so far, Ruler and Fruitcake appear to be like a bit more like I have a feeling that if we're going by qualifiers, then their sort of like performances are sort of equalized in a way, considering that Fruitcake has proven, like in the main matches, that they're a bit more well versed in the Elon field, in contrary to the Rice field, if I'm not mistaken. Whereas, like I think for Ruler, it's more or less the same, but like on a different scale. But I could be wrong.
hmm. Ruler. So that means Ruler gets to decide first and protects.
So Ruler, having won the rolls with like 94, basically just like sweeping the rolls like early on. It seems that Ruler is going to be going out first thing for protecting Rice one, so it's going to be AO Infinity by Tails DK. It's a relatively like classic ranked map that's really sort of jump stream oriented. So I guess it makes sense as to why Ruler would like opt in for protecting it, considering that they do have like a fair share of like abilities that sort of allow them to power through Rice picks in specific. And for K, gonna be like trying to oppose that with a hybrid 3 protects, it's going to be XYZ. This is like the pretty like rigid mixed hybrid with some SVs mixed in as well. And a relatively old one as well.
You know, I'm looking at the qualifier results right now, and I'll have to disagree with both protects. This is because in qualifiers, Ruler is only around 4,000 points ahead of Fruitcake on Rise 1, whilst on round of 32, Ruler had one of the best hybrid scores. And from that alone,
Yeah, both the players like sort of abilities really like contrasting like their protects here. It's sort of like it feels a bit like confusing, as you've said, considering that both players have like pretty much shown that they can like really just like I don't know, trigger like a lot of like things to happen within just one pick. And if either player like just protecting like what can be in their opponent's advantage, then that sort of puts them in a position that might be a bit more risky. As we can see, Fruitcake's going to be banning out Rice 2, which is going to be Ankle Biters, and then Ruler's going to be banning out Ellen 3, so that's going to be Overdrivers. So like both of those picks like make some sense, but at the same time the protects are kind of maybe not the best option, I could say. Yeah, and they're going to be going out for picking Rice 5 not first thing. Ruler's going to be picking out Grin. So this is the sort of chord jack oriented pick of this map pool. This map has been pretty much like solidified into like, I mean, this is pretty much like one of those beat maps in Ursumania that pretty much everyone and their moms like pretty much like have in their map inventory, considering that this map has accumulated like 2 million plays since it got ranked like about nearly 5 years ago or something like that. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how both these players do. But with that out of the way, both players already having like started the map, we're just yet to see like what unfolds of this map. It's gonna be like, I'd argue that is gonna be like relatively dangerous, considering the fact that obviously this map is like pretty straightforward in terms of the direction it takes with its jack patterning. So to see how both these players are gonna be doing is yet to be seen, considering that it can definitely go in like any kind of direction. As we get into like this sort of introductory section, Fruitcake gonna be taking a pretty early drop that's going to give Ruler the lead for now, which is something that is not really like in their best favor, especially getting into like this pretty like dense section with like some bursts that are included here in like 1/6 and 1/8 especially. So it really like is one of those maps that just demands for your like full attention, as you don't want to like just skim through something that you're not like paying proper focus onto and whatnot here.
that's fair. Thank you so much for covering, by the way, on that previous part. I apologize. My internet has went down, but we are so back. And you're totally right. Another problem I'm seeing from Fruitcake here is like they're not able to capitalize on these easy sections. Like you're seeing those 200s coming in there, and that's massive because typically in charts at this rank, at this star rating, don't have a lot of objects. So basically you really have to make the most of every note, and Fruitcake has made mistakes on those easier parts. And as I say that, like right now, this is exactly what's wrong with Fruitcake's performance.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like one of those picks that once again demands for your attention, and if you don't like and it's one of those picks that you just can't skim, because otherwise you just make like some pretty blind mistakes that just like hinder you from like being able to build up your score and be in order to like try and win this pick alone, which is basically like what Fruitcake is suffering here, in contrary to Ruler, who's basically like despite some like accuracy drops along the way, still hanging on to their combo, and like basically I've seen sort of dropping a bit of accuracy on like some of these LN bursts, but it's not gonna mean much any at this stage, considering that the map is basically closing out now. Oh
Yeah, even
damn.
yeah, even if even if Ruler found a miss at the end, it doesn't really matter. I mean, the ratios and hunt counts look close, but those 100s and 50s didn't help Fruitcake at all. I'm just looking at the entire chart and how it went, and judging from how it goes, it seems like Fruitcake would have to rely more on Ruler finding those mistakes on more difficult sections, just because it doesn't seem like Fruitcake has the consistency to hold on to even some of the easier sections just yet, which indicates to me that fundamentals wise, Ruler has the advantage.
Indeed, and Fruitcake gonna be going out for the LN2 pick right after. This is gonna be Foolish Hero, like, coming into the fray right now. Gonna be seeing, like, some pretty, like, coordination-oriented patterns, and some, it's like one of those maps that's, like, sort of goes in, like, various directions, and, like, seeing how both these players are, like, maybe probably, or I'd argue, like, better in LN in their own fields than like maybe the other fields. It might be a bit dangerous considering that like this is relatively easy. This was a map that was featured like earlier on in Soft 6, which where LN maps in general were like not as like advanced or like as avant-garde as they are now in Contrary.
Fair enough, this was indeed in Soft 6, and I can understand
Oh
why
yeah, my
Fruitcake
bad.
would choose this. No, you're correct there. I can understand why Fruitcake chose this, because in the qualifiers, Ruler and Fruitcake were extremely close in the LNs, but you have to pay attention to round of 32, where Ruler had number 5 in LN2, number 14 in LN3, so they're pretty much in the upper pack of the scores. So I won't be surprised if Ruler has a bit of an advantage for now. But Fruitcake is one to watch out. Have to remember, again, like what I said, qualifier-wise, these two aren't too far apart on LNs, so there's definitely a good chance for Fruitcake to try and steal a point here.
Yeah, absolutely. Fruitcake not giving Ruler enough time to really like just like on warm up to the pick currently. Ruler has built their accuracy up to around 99.60% on average, but Fruitcake is not going to be letting that slide just yet. Just behind by only less than 2,000 points. It's basically like at this point, any mistake that Ruler makes can basically cost them this point, which is a scenario that they don't want, especially going into the first course here, as we can see.
What's a bit funny though is Fruitcake's UR is actually a bit more close to each other than Ruler's, so that just means any mistake could be bound to happen on Ruler's end, and that's happening right now. Fruitcake starting to gain some traction, Ruler's dropping some 200s. That's what I'm talking about! The UR is more stable on Fruitcake's side!
Yeah, the UR on Fruitcake having the more the strongest stability, but like the scores flickering between the two.
116! Wow! Oh my god! Wow! 5 300s decided this. 5 300s decided this match.
Bruh,
Or this map rather. See, yeah, that's what I was saying. Like that UR. The moment I noticed Fruitcake's UR is starting to get was much closer than Ruler's, there was an opportunity for any mistakes for Ruler to happen, and that almost came into play. Just unfortunate that it did not. It wasn't enough for Fruitcake to take the point.
Yeah, absolutely. Ruler just only barely making it out alive with that point. It could easily have been given to Fruitcake had it not been for, if it weren't for the 5 difference in perfects and whatnot. And Ruler, and it seems like Ruler's gonna be picking out Rice 6 next to counter, like, Fruitcake's choice from earlier. So this is gonna be no Noise Channel Fiend full next. This is like the this is like how I say, this is like what I'd call the boss map of this map pool, considering that like it's the longest Rice map in the whole like Rice pool here, but it's also like probably really difficult as well, considering that it's like 225 BPM jump stream and broken jump stream with some bursts here for basically 4 minutes.
Correction, by the way, this isn't Noise Channel theme. This is Send My Love to Mars. That's the title of this chart. But
Oh yeah.
but you are right in saying, in a way, I can see why you'd say this as a boss map. But patterning wise, it's not that difficult for players to hit. And that's exactly why that miss from Fruitcake is going to be damaging their chances of winning this point. Simply because I don't see Ruler making a lot of those mistakes. Like, in this entire match, Ruler is the more consistent player on Rice, and now that Fruitcake has found misses, even if it hasn't reached the more denser parts, it's gonna be a big problem.
Yeah, absolutely. This being like one of those maps that just practically demands for your consistency to just stay on the top no matter what. It's definitely one of those maps that can just throw off people because like not everyone's gonna be able to have like the sort of stamina to be able to just simply FC this. As we can see, Fruitcake just taking a bunch of fatal drops like early into the first quarter of this map, while Ruler still yet to find a drop, even though they have also dropped under the 99% accuracy. This could be a pretty dangerous scenario for both these players, considering that this is once again like a map that doesn't let up like very often. So both players gonna need to like try and like maintain their accuracy, and we can see Ruler taking a drop here that's going to bring the lead closer to Fruitcake, and it's definitely put them in a position that basically makes this map like a lot more dangerous than it seems here.
What happened? Like, that's crazy. Like, a while ago I was talking about that how Ruler has the more consistency, but now Fruitcake is starting to gain that tactical advantage. I say tactical because if you were to look at this entire match, and with the trend of Ruler dropping accuracy, this could mean some big things from Fruitcake moving forward. This tells me one thing: Ruler's stamina could already be fading away while Fruitcake is starting to hold on a bit more. Even though that miss happened, it's not over yet. There are so many places where mistakes can still happen.
Absolutely, and considering that like the map has like a few breaks here and there, like later on, those breaks aren't like something to be messed with either, considering that even through like this Ellen section that's coming up after this one, it's not like entirely easy, because like you can easily be thrown off by some of these like Ellen patterns in general, especially because Ellen patterns are usually like a bit less common in Rice maps. And as we can see here, throwing Fruitcake off a bit, that's basically giving Ruler the upper hand once again. Despite like dropping their accuracy down earlier, it could have spelled danger for them. And even now, any clean miss won't mean too much if they just if nothing bad happens for them here.
Yeah, like, I don't know. It's really unfortunate to see those misses from Fruitcake a while ago. They happened on like literally the break section of this chart. And now it's the more difficult section again. Fruitcake has to play catch up against Ruler. This has been Fruitcake's problem. Even in the previous pick, where they both had the full combo, or at least just a one miss or something like that. My biggest issue is that Fruitcake cannot capitalize on the easier parts of the chart. And that is exactly why the advantages have been on Ruler this entire match. There were so many opportunities for Fruitcake to take it, but without doing the easier parts correctly, you can't capitalize on those harder sections, and that's really been Fruitcake's biggest disadvantage this match.
Indeed. Unfortunately, this map not going to be working out for Fruitcake in the end, and Ruler going to be making it already to their third point of the match. So now I think Fruitcake going to be wanting to try and aim for like another map that can probably like put them into the forefront. And it seems like they're going to be going out for Hybrid Freeze. So like, I am not too sure what to think of this pick. I'm considering that like it's a bit like more abstract in comparison to like all the other picks, and like it has like some SVs in it, but like maybe Fruitcake has like probably shown maybe Fruitcake has like practiced this map like prior to the match, but it's not like safe to say that Ruler can like probably play the same exact thing as well without making, if not the same mistakes.
You know, that's fair, but practice doesn't guarantee points. Even you like So basically, Fruitcake is gambling on two things. Wait, huh? What was
Huh?
that? There's no way that's an actual miss.
No, it has to be client.
Okay, but more, on a more serious note, as I was saying, Fruitcake's gambling on two things. Number one, was the practice enough? Number two, did the opponent practice? And number three, actually, I should have said three things. So, number three, can Fruitcake nail the easier sections? Because again, that's been their entire problem this match. Just not being able to capitalize on the easier sections of the chart. And that's costed them probably 2 points already.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like the thing that like sort of halters these two players from like being able to play their best on like just like any of just basically a really sort of dependent scenario depending on like which map they're playing on. It's sort their accuracy is like one factor that's like very crucial here, and as we can see, despite Fruitcake having the upper hand earlier, they're gonna be taking a miss that's going to like be so like devastating early on. That's going to give Ruler the upper hand for a bit, and taking that miss once again, that's going to basically solidify Ruler's lead for the time being, which is something that they don't want in this match, considering that on this map, especially considering that this map is really like distinguished from like all the other picks here in its own ways, and it's very bursty and whatnot.
Yeah, that is so unfortunate. Again, Fruitcake has the accuracy advantage. Unlike a few of these matches, or like it's the previous map only for the most part. But the good news is there's SVs here, and I think players are bound to miss at any point of this chart. It has to happen now though, if Fruitcake wants a chance, that is, because time is really starting to run out.
And as we say that, Ruler gonna be taking a miss and bringing the lead back to Fruitcake by accident once again. Fruitcake haven't built their accuracy over the 99% mark. It's definitely working a bit better in favor for Fruitcake here, as the lead goes back to them, and there's only like one quarter of the map left, but that's not to say that there's like any more like trickeries that this map has left up its sleeves. As we can see, Ruler taking a miss that's going to like also solidify Fruitcake's lead just as much as it did for Ruler earlier on. And I think Ruler basically like taking more misses, it's basically enough to say that like it's done so much damage to be able to give Fruitcake this chance to secure their first point of this match, especially.
So this gamble was really worth it for Fruitcake. A very good protect. Oh wait, no. Wait. This was the protect, right? This was Fruitcake's protect.
Yeah, it was.
I totally forgot that HB3 containing hybrids. So now that we're seeing this, when you see it, by the way. So now that we're seeing this, it's actually a really good protect from Fruitcake, just because Fruitcake was able to get on the board despite being down 3-0. Very good composure, even messing up on some of the easy parts, still able to get this victory. That was massive for Fruitcake. But now Ruler has to decide. I don't know what it should be. I will guess Hestia will be Ruler's pick. Even though Fruitcake has one on the rise, it's starting to show like Fruitcake's starting to catch up on rise ability.
Yeah, and it seems that despite that, Ruler's gonna be picking out LN1, which is Suzuzeru Mori no Shoujo. I'm not exactly sure what to feel about this pick, to be honest. Yeah, because like we've seen from LN2 earlier, which was Foolish Hero, it had like both of these players were like very it was probably like one of the closest scores, the definition of close scores in this match already. And that alone should be a sign to like say that maybe Ellens are like maybe too tall of a risk to be able to take. Like obviously it can work in like all sorts of directions, considering that this map especially is like a bit like more it's like different to Foolish Hero in comparison, considering that it's a bit more coordination oriented, but like that's not to say that like any mistake here can happen, considering these both these players have a strong point in LN, even when it comes down to the consistency alone, which matters so much here.
Fruitcake's accuracy is also starting to stabilize more into the match, while Ruler is starting to have a UR that isn't exactly close to each other. When I say that, what I mean is Ruler's notes, taps, and releases are just a bit more inconsistent compared to Fruitcake. And now, there's really a good chance that Fruitcake could take this, but take note, Fruitcake has found mistakes on some of the easier parts of this chart. On any chart, I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting into the first course, like Ruler has taken some drops here along the way that's basically solidified Fruitcake's lead for now, but not giving them too much breathing room, considering that any mistake that Fruitcake makes here can just cost them this point as well, or cost them the lead. And getting into the halfway mark of the map, it sort of like evolves in patterning and like just sort of like derivates into like a bunch of different patterns here that can throw a lot of people off. I know it's thrown me off in the past playing this, and it's something that Fruitcake cannot afford here. Taking just like sort of very, just being very like, and even taking that drop. This is what I was talking about. Despite the consistency that Fruitcake needs to accumulate, it's basically just faltered on them, and it cannot, and they can't let it fall flat on their face just here.
And now, this is the problem. But the difference this time is that was a relatively more difficult pattern. So it's a bit more understandable why we saw Fruitcake drop on there. However, it's not good news, especially if Fruitcake wants a chance at winning this, because Ruler rarely shows drops on any easy pattern, unlike Fruitcake where we've seen some of those happen already. So I just think Ruler takes this, unless some fatal mistake happens.
Yeah, there's not much of the map left, and I think like, and with that being it, it's basically the end of the map. So Fruitcake not being able to take the point off an LN map again, that's basically the end of all the regular LN maps in this map, considering that LN free has been banned out earlier. And Ruler gonna be able to capitalize off this point with only 2 grades. But Fruitcake here had the stronger ratio, despite the misjudgments. So that's definitely like a bit of a sign to like be careful of. Even if Ruler's already at match point, there's no doubt that Fruitcake could like just cause a reverse sweep here, because that's their only option now if they don't want to like go out into the losers bracket here.
I would have expected Ruler to choose Hestia, but I digress. I mean, Fruitcake only won on a hybrid, so I can understand why Fruitcake would choose this.
Yeah, Hestia being like probably I'd argue one of the more safer hybrid picks in general, considering that, as you know, this map was made by Dubstep, who's like a relatively like classic mapper in my opinion. I'd argue, I mean he was like one of my like main inspirations for mapping. This map is like a lot easier compared to like some of his other maps. But like in general, this map is like really technical. It has like quite a bunch of like rice bursts here, and quite the plethora of like Ellen graces here that really just demand for your attention here, as we can see here. It's getting into just being shown like the source of the map here, as the score is still tugging against each other. Fruitcake just having the upper hand by a bit, but that's not going to last for very long unless someone drops here.
Well, Fruitcake has done a really good job so far. Both of these players are very consistent. However, just from the tendencies alone of Fruitcake, I wouldn't be confident in this lead just yet. Ruler has shown the same potential of finding mistakes on patterns that shouldn't be there. That shouldn't be parts where players would find mistakes. So it's just a big gamble, really. And I can understand why Fruitcake would want to take this route.
Yeah,
now,
absolutely.
I'm getting scared. I'm getting really scared.
Yeah. This score lead has not even changed a bit ever since we started, and even now it's only just slightly changing, bringing Fruitcake like up at like maybe thousands of points, but even that can just change it like any moment, which neither of these players want. both players just have to like just maintain their FCs for the time being, and like just pray for like some sort of like very dastardly like funny pattern to happen along the way. It's gonna throw one of these players off. But I don't think there's really much room for it now, considering that we've basically made it to the end of the map. So Fruitcake just needs to like just assess this part and hopefully.
Oh, please, no, you can't do this, please.
No.
Okay, no, Fruitcake's gonna hold on. No misses are gonna happen. Yeah, that's already an S. That's already an FC. So both players FC'd the chart. Very good scores for the both of them. Even with the 200 counts, it would have still been a Fruitcake win. That's crazy. Like, both players were consistent. I mean, it's a very high pressure situation. And now that we're in a situation where you really have to be more focused on, I find it impressive that they were both able to keep their composure and full combo the chart. And now, L Infinity, I think this was Ruler's Protect. I was really skeptical. I was skeptical of this Protect. Simply because, I mean, we saw how Send Your Love to Mars went. Send My Love to Mars went, rather. And we saw Fruitcake having potentially better act. So that kind of adds to my skepticism on if this is really a good Protect from Ruler. Because honestly, it could be bad if Fruitcake can hold that accuracy higher. And it could also be worse if Fatigue is starting to hit Ruler, because Ruler's UR is starting to be a bit inconsistent.
Yeah, in principle, AO Infinity is like a map that's like it's different to Send My Love to Mars, as we've seen, considering that despite that it's slower, like it doesn't like make it like all the more easier, considering the fact that despite only being 190 BPM jump stream, it does get pretty dense in patterning, considering the amount of split trolls and hand stream and jump trolls that it throws at you. Like in this, given that it's a relatively classic map as well from like so long ago, like we'll just have to see how both these players do, because like this could definitely be a bit of a bloodshed if things don't end up working in one's favor.
So now, I agree with what you've said so far. Really good points. But now, I don't know. I'm actually really scared of this pick. I mean, other than the fact that it's match point, again, I kind of disagree with this being Ruler's Protect. Just because Rice won in qualifiers, they were both really close. Even though Ruler was higher by a bit, it's still not the best Protect out there. However, okay, that 200 from Fruitcake could change my mind. But again, look at the difference of their consistencies. Okay, Ruler has the lead right now though. Oh, okay, there we go.
Oh. Yeah, Fruitcake going to be taking that miss. That's basically just spelled a bit of danger for them getting into this jump tree pick, because like even while this section is dense, it doesn't give you the same density for a while. So like Ruler just has to like maintain their consistency throughout this section here, which is like relatively light jump stream with some like anchors thrown in here and there and whatnot. And the score lead that Fruitcake basically gave up for Ruler, that's opened like maybe way too many opportunities for Ruler to just capitalize off of this pick alone and to just like secure their like win. And Fruitcake just missing there during such a calm section is not going to be able to help him very much now.
Now looking at this chart, seems like Ruler made the wonderful Protect after all. Like that is a really now now they were able to see the density has worked very well. I guess the reason why Fruitcake had better act on the Send My Love to Mars chart was maybe it was lesser dense and it could be longer, so stamina issue could have been a factor for Ruler. But this chart is not exactly the most stamina draining, and it's also dense. So now with that in mind, Ruler definitely made a great Protect here.
Yeah, absolutely. Fruitcake just getting both players getting into this final course here. This is the section of the map that's not gonna let up for any longer. So both players gonna have to like try and like do their best, but Fruitcake just missing like multiple times. That's basically probably spelled like a really it basically means that Fruitcake just has like very slim chances of like making it out of this match here. unless a massive disaster on the side of Ruler just happens here. But I don't think it's likely given how consistent Ruler is on this pick in comparison to Send My Love to Mars from earlier.
I don't even think Ruler is aware that they have the advantage right now, just because of how well they've been playing, and that's a great performance. Fruitcake had their opportunities. They definitely showed a lot of promise on some picks, but Ruler ended this match on such a high note, a full combo, and such a big lead as well to hold on. Very good performance from Ruler. That was just a massive win. I mean, again, it's a great way to solidify it. As for Fruitcake, that was a great try. They definitely had their moments, but Ruler would eventually take it the entire match.
Absolutely. Ruler going to be able to capitalize off of the final map of this match being a pretty dense jump stream map. It's going to work out for them just as much as it worked out, just as much as Hybrid Free worked out for Fruitcake here. Despite how the match went, unfortunately, Fruitcake going to be seeing themselves knocked down into the losers bracket for the quarterfinals weekend, which should be next week. But the fight's not over yet. So like both players making it into the quarterfinals bracket, it seems like we're going to be seeing all right.
So the winner of I forgot I'm not entirely sure what those names are, but it's Log 45 VS versus the winner of that Soul versus Lady match will be up against Fruitcake. So there seems to be another match that's happening. So it's I don't know how to pronounce this, but Anya Pui, I think. And then there's Tortoise.
Oh yeah, it's Anhabui and then it's Tortoise. So Seed 9 versus Seed Percy. Did the match only just start or something? It seems like they're doing the bans and protects now, and I'm from what I can see, Rise 2 and Hybrid 3 getting banned like right away.
That's crazy. Alright, so we're just waiting for the entire stream to fix and all that.